Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicole Alvarez. I have a big smile on my face because I'm very excited about our guest today, representing Dave Gahan and Soulsavers, the one and the only Audacy check-in with Dave Gahan. Yeah, this is bananas.
Yeah, it's I'm getting used to it, but it's it is strange to be on the Zoom all the time. Yeah.
No, Dave Gahan, I mean me sitting here talking to you, the living legend.
Well, okay. Yeah.
But the Zoom is also very strange. It's something that I don't think I'll quite get used to. But you know,
yeah. At least we have it, right?
It is what it is. As I live and breathe, Dave Gahan, I could ask you a million questions, but alas, I only have time for a fraction, and the focus is on Imposter, as it should be. I had the privilege of listening to the record last night 5 times in a row. Wow. Because I believe that the first time we listen to a record, you know, we're kind of skimming it, like trying to see what songs catch us and whatnot. And the second time, at least for me, I hear the music, and the third time I hear the story. So, and then after that, you know, I put my headphones on and I get lost in it. So I want to start by asking you, because I was so moved once I started to hear the story. I was so moved. How did you choose the songs, or did they choose you?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, you know what? They chose me. Yeah, it's I didn't know that until we were actually recording this. You know, I thought I was choosing the songs because, and Rich too, Rich Machin as well, that we would making lists of songs or artists or singers that, you know, we felt moved by and, you know, had somehow, you know, represented a point or something in our life or whatever, and, you know, as music does, and that still does for me. And I think for most lovers of music and songs, but in particular, the voices for me was how I chose, and the way they would express those songs. I mean, because some of the songs, like Always on My Mind, for instance, you know, I mean, we know that Elvis didn't write that, but boy, he made the song his. That's for, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter, you know, it's the voices we believe. And I believe in that song, in that particular performance, he was really saying something. And I wanted to be able to do that. So, you know, for me, it was really, once we picked all these songs and we started recording, I realized it was the songs that were picking me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I used my voice. It still became weirdly confessional. I don't, you know, and then the sequencing of the record, I started to think about that actually as we were tracking a song a day. We did a song a day, and performed it live, and I performed live, and these are all, you know, live performances of the complete song as I sang it. That was really important to me because I wanted to feel the same kind of feeling, and it was difficult to imagine, but that I do quite often when I'm performing on stage in front of people. I wanted to go to a place where I was carrying these songs through me, and they were pouring out to you. And not just because, and of course it's very personal, that feeling, but somehow when I'm singing, like I did on Imposter, I just, you know, it feels like the most natural thing in the world.
These songs sounded like they were yours. And I'll get to that, but I wanted to ask you about the precision of the order of the songs, and if it's meant to tell a story in some kind of chronological order, or how you put that together, because it did definitely take me on a journey, and I can't imagine the songs being placed any other way. So I wanted to know that process.
Well, you're right, and I do think you kind of have to listen. I know why, but you do have to listen a few times, like you said, and then you suddenly like, oh, okay, because hopefully what that does is it draws you in to, a chance to not just hear great music, but these words, like especially in the last couple of years, everything we've all been through together. I needed to feel a connection to something, and the sequencing became. Every day, like when we tracked another song, I was kind of going back at night to the hotel and moving the songs around on my computer, the rough monitor, the desk mixes that I had, and starting to listen to them and realizing that it was playing out like a show, like a performance on stage. Like the arc of the album, has to. I've learned this over years about making music as well. Like for me, it's got to take you on a little journey, it's got to take you somewhere. And I've got to, more importantly, believe that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah.
So I want to spotlight a few of my favorites. I was not prepared for the impact that Metal Heart had on me.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a strong song, but it
probably my favorite at the moment.
It's incredible. It's such I did not see that coming, and I'm glad that I wasn't prepared for that. It's such a strong song, but it left me feeling so vulnerable, not weak in my vulnerability, but it opened me up in a way that I was not expecting. So I want to talk about that Cat Power song and your relationship with it.
Well, it did the same for me, and it does every time I've been sort of singing in my studio just to get my voice ready, because I know we're going to be doing some kind of performances of this record in a month or so. So I've been singing through. I've been singing again as the songs play out, as Imposter plays out. And when I get to Metal Heart, which for me is the perfect pause ending to side one. Before we open side two of this record, how I hear it with Shut Me Down. But Metal Heart every time I sing it, it does something to me. And the performance that we did live in the studio as well, it really was quite cathartic at that point as well, because we didn't record that song until about sort of a couple of weeks in, and we needed that kind of feeling. And for me, it's like all these different visuals come up for me. That kind of, I know it sounds weird, but it's like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
It doesn't sound weird at all. Music opens up these like music is theater of the mind, essentially. Yeah. And so who knows when we open those doors, who comes out? Like for you, it's the Tin Man. I saw some like dark, shadowy figures singing in a choir when I heard it for the first time. It's amazing what it does.
Yeah, I mean, and I gotta give all credit as well to, Wendy and TJ and Janet that singing with me. And Janet went off on like a solo with her voice. I said to her at the end of the song, just like, whatever you feel like singing, like pick a couple of lines or something from the song, just like get out there, like do your thing. And, and she was amazing. I mean, it was like when the Stones, I always hear it when, in Gimme Shelter, for instance, and the voice at the end of there, that she's singing, rape, murder,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
a shot away. I mean, like the way she says those words though, it like just so that was kind of our template for where that song needed to go, and we, I think we did it.
You did it. You did a fantastic job. And I think that song is going to blow people away. But I imagine live, it's going to be another level of experience. Before I want to spotlight a couple of more, but I wanted to ask you, when you sing these songs, do you go into it with the same emotional intentions as the original? Or do you want to pour a different side of yourself into it because you want to tell a different story with the lyrics?
I really, it's just all me. I'm not even thinking about who sang it for anymore.
That's why they sound like.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I just threw myself into being this guy who I thought was the imposter. Living vicariously through these other songs or whatever, but this is like more me than I think I've ever been me, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I wanted to also spotlight the Dylan song, Not Dark Yet, because that's another one that moved me and stayed with me. So talk to me about your relationship with that one.
Well, it was, I mean, look, when you sort of choose a writer or a performer like Dylan, you got to do something that is, you got to make it yours or just leave it alone. It's like, as a musician, there's always certain things you go, no, I'm not doing a Stone song or a Zeppelin. It's like,
yes.
There's just certain rules I have in my head that are probably wrong, but
not necessarily.
And there was a little bit of that with Dylan. I was kind of like, but I loved this album. And to me, this song as well, it's like, he's reached a point, this character has reached a point where he's done so much. He has a lot of wisdom, from his own journey in whatever, musical journey, life journey. And lyrically, I think it speaks volumes of, I guess, how I feel about myself today as well. So I felt like I'd earned the right to be able to sing that song and sing it in my way with my own kind of thought pattern and my spirit running through it.
I feel you did the same with the song Smile. So there's a scene, it plays throughout the movie Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, and it sounds so much darker and so much more melancholy in the movie, but I didn't feel that when I heard it on the record.
No, I love that film too, and I was a little bit pissed off because we had already done this and already was doing this thing. And when I was like, no, because there was something there that I felt like sometimes when you do things and you put it out there in the air or whatever, it just gets picked off by someone else and it's just out there. And I had that kind of feeling when I heard it. But I heard a rumor that Joaquin, he came to one of our shows or something when we were on a Depeche Mode show, like in when we did the Hollywood Bowl. I don't know if that's true or not. And it was before that film and all this, but there was some like kind of little moves that he made in as the character Joker.
Yes.
That were very similar to sort of some of the
Dave Gahan,
yeah.
I agree.
Shapes. I loved his shapes, and I was like, wow, and it's like I felt very. His whole character in that was, this misunderstood, I guess, but he's a performer. He's a clown.
Yeah.
He's and also there's a very, very dark side to him. But I like that about that. And of course, to me, Smile, though, in the performance, it's such a beautiful moment that I had also with Martijn, who was playing stand-up bass on the song at the time. And, we kind of made a connection. And right at the end of the song, I don't know if you can hear, but I know it's there, I almost at the end of the song sort of start laughing, or like it was either going to be a laugh or a cry or something, because it was such an intimate moment. I almost couldn't handle it, but that was the performance it ended up being, and that's the one that you all hear. And I like that about it. There's a vulnerability to it that it almost breaks, but it's just, and it's beautifully played by Martine as well, the bass line.
We only have a few minutes, so I just want everybody to experience the album on their own. So I don't want to give too much away. Yeah. We'll say it ends on Always on My Mind, and you make that one your own as well. But on the side, I wanted to ask you, at this moment in your career, what is the most important thing to you?
Well, I'm still trying to work through these, using music and song and to redeem myself somehow from this, whatever.
This madness.
Yeah, whatever, it is. And forgiveness as well. There's a real, like, in that song, it's like, wow, like just asking the universe or something for forgiveness for just who the fuck we are, it's like, and what a mess we made. I mean that also with my tongue firmly planted in my cheek, because, that's what the song feels like for me. It's like, I wanted to end the set, end the show with a thank you, and close the curtain, in a way that it felt like, so that was the fitting end to the record.
This has been a most precious experience of my life, and I just wanted to say thank you. Imposter is magnificent, and I'm so glad that I heard this story. It was amazing to speak to you. Thank you so much, and thanks everybody.